Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. One of the most powerful ways to create your ideal future is through the art of visualization and mental rehearsal. However, most people are making this key mistake that is killing the creation process. The good news is, after watching this video, you'll know how to visualize correctly and quite literally shift form, physical matter, and collapse wave functions to particles in the quantum field. I like to call it mental rehearsal rather than visualization, because we don't want to just view it, we want to rehearse it, just like actors rehearse for a movie. And because our minds don't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, we are actually training our nervous system to believe it's true, and that's who we are. So if you hear me say anything about mental rehearsal or visualization, it's the same thing. Let's not overcomplicate this. You see it all the time, and for some reason us humans think that more is better, and the more complex something is, the better that is. That's complete bullshit when it comes to your mind and creating the life that you want. Our minds and our lives are already complicated, and with working with hundreds of men, most of them say that females are complicated too. So let's not make it harder than it should be. Now, this overcomplication in the health and fitness space has led to so much confusion. Every person has a different opinion and wants to take their small specific thing and say it makes this big difference. Don't eat this with that, don't cross this nutrient as it will release this hormone, blah, 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 blah. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So the more complex, the less that gets done. If we talk in terms of health and fitness, eat less, eat better, move more, lift more. Simple. So in this video, I'm not going to talk about how to create your new identity, how to visualize your ideal self, or how to visualize the process, or anything like that. So many people get caught up in trying to shift their identity first. However, what I've learned is that your identity is the outcome and the effect of the cause, and the identity is only the small piece of the puzzle. Because at the top we have our emotions, and from those emotions we have thousands of thoughts that create our beliefs, and our beliefs create our values, and then the combination of our emotions plus our beliefs plus our values creates our identity. In other words, and through this three-step visualization process, your identity will naturally shift. So let's not waste any time trying to shift it. It's only 5% of the equation. So talking about simplicity, let's get into the steps. Step number 1, you actually have to practice. If you're someone who can close their eyes and create a scene that feels so real and seems like it's actually happening, then you can probably skip this step. However, 99% of people can't do this yet, and so this is where you start. And at the end of this video, I'm going to guide you through a short mental rehearsal training. The reason why most people don't get the results they want with their visualizations is that they haven't been able to create the mental images strong enough and real enough to penetrate the quantum field. You literally reach a point where you can see so much detail and it looks so real, and that's the switch that flicks. In life, there are some things that words can't explain, and this transition is one of those, but it takes practice. You can't expect to be good at anything the first time you do it. I recommend before you go into your mental rehearsal each day, come back and follow along this guided mental rehearsal training at the end of this video for the next 30 days at least. So step number 1 is practicing your mental rehearsal skills in addition to the thing you actually want to achieve. This will fast track your ability to manifest and create your life. Step number 2. Now this is the fun part. You actually get to create your life now. So step number 2 is to get clear on what you want to mentally rehearse and schedule that time into your calendar. If you go into this with the mindset of I'll just do it whenever I get a chance, I can tell you now that there are going to be days when you miss it. And you'll miss it once, and then you'll miss it the next day, and you'll miss it the next day, and eventually stop doing it. And maybe even say, this doesn't work for me. Personally, I spend an hour a day mentally rehearsing. Now, I don't expect you to do it for that long. However, you might spend 1 hour at the gym building your body, but why don't we spend 1 hour building our life in the same way? I think this is one of the most important parts of my day, and when you start to realize how powerful you actually are, you will understand this too. So work out how long realistically you can do each day and book it into your calendar. If it wasn't for my calendar, I know that there would be days where I would skip it because I've had other things to do. But because it's scheduled in there, it stays in there. It's okay to start small. Start with 10 minutes, then go to 15 after a few weeks, and then 20 and so on. One thing I want to mention here is that you need to have a level of patience. You can't expect to do something for a week and then it just falls out of nowhere. It takes time. So I recommend starting small and giving yourself 3 to 4 months until you start seeing results. Personally, I like to visualize short term, 6 to 12 months. I think it's more important, rather than visualizing material things, to mentally rehearse acting in a way that is aligned to the person that you want to become. It follows the be, do, have formula. You start with being the person you want to be, then move on to doing the things that are required to have the things that you want to have. So you can mentally rehearse yourself being confident in situations. You can mentally rehearse walking into your dream house. You can mentally rehearse opening your phone and seeing money just falling into your bank account. You can mentally rehearse walking down the street holding the hand of your dream partner. There is literally no limit to this. There was a study done where one group of participants physically performed bicep curls for 30 days. The second group mentally rehearsed doing the bicep curls for 30 days, and the third group were the control group and did nothing. The amazing thing was that there was only a slight percentage difference between the strength of the group who mentally rehearsed and the ones who actually physically performed the bicep curl. That is how powerful this is. But you need to have clarity. So that's why I say you can focus on who you need to be, and that's what you focus on, not the material thing itself. For example, being more confident in social situations, you are mentally rehearsing and focusing on being more confident in those situations, not focusing on the situation happening that way. Again, if you want to buy your dream house, you can focus on who you will be walking into that dream house rather than focusing on walking into the house. You're focusing on who you are being walking into the house. So that's step number 2. Get clear on what you are going to mentally rehearse. And finally, step number 3. Now, if you're not getting the results that you want, there's probably a belief in there somewhere that's holding you back. Now, if we go back to my diagram, we have our emotions and our beliefs at the top. So it's important to start there, as I said earlier. Once you shift those, your identity will shift. So once you get clear on what you are going to mentally rehearse, I want you to write down a list of all the limiting beliefs or negative emotions that come up around that. Maybe there's a fear of failure. Maybe there's a fear of success. Maybe you don't think you're good enough. So you have to really sit with this and be real and raw and honest with yourself. Once you have that list, you can start working through them one by one. Ask yourself, when did this start? What created this? When was the first time I experienced this? You might even want to close your eyes and go through this process and ask yourself the question and see what images or events come to mind. Then find the benefits and the lessons in those beliefs and those emotions, and then they just tend to dissolve. Now, if you're a man, we run our breakthrough program called Launch, where I take you through the process to break clear and release 12 of the main core issues and beliefs that hold men back. If you'd like to learn more about that, there'll be a link to book a call with my team down below. So to recap, step number 1, training your mental rehearsal skills. Step number 2, getting clear on what you are going to mentally rehearse. And step number 3, clear the blockages, the beliefs, and the emotions that are in your way. It's simple. However, don't get thrown off by how simple it is. Now, let me guide you through the mental rehearsal process. So sit or lie in a comfortable position and take a breath, breathe in and breathe out, and just close your eyes. And just relax. And whenever you're ready, I want you to imagine pulling up a big screen in your mind's eye out in front of you. And I want you to put it just above eye level. And so it's about 2 arms length in front of you. And on this screen, I want you to imagine drawing a square So just imagine drawing the square, all 4 lines. And once you've done that, let's make this a 3D cube. So from the top left of the square, let's go back and draw the top square first. And then draw the right side square. And then the bottom face of this cube. Then trace the left side of the cube. And finally, let's trace the back side of the cube. And now that you have that cube, I want you to imagine drawing a pyramid on the top of that cube. Imagine drawing all 4 lines leading up to the access point. And then the cube, I want you to imagine it goes blue. Imagine making that cube blue. And then your pyramid on the top, make that yellow. Nice, and just let all that disappear, just let it all fade off again. And now I want you to imagine drawing a triangle in your mind's eye on this screen. Draw the bottom, then the right side, the left side. And then let's make this a 3D shape. So draw another triangle on the bottom of this shape. Draw a triangle on the bottom. And then fill it in, draw the right side triangle face of this shape, and then do the same for the left. Imagine tracing all of the outside pieces. Notice how much easier and clearer this gets the more you do it. And let's do the same on the bottom. Let's draw the exact same shape connected to the bottom, just upside down. So let's draw the front face of the triangle. And then the right side of that triangle. And the left side. Then I want you to make the top triangle red. Just imagine turning that red. And then the bottom triangle, imagine turning that white, bright white. And you can just clear your screen and let the screen disappear. And if you choose to continue with your visualization, you can do that now. But otherwise, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. And that's a really simple little process, but if you continue to do that, your visualization skills are going to get so strong that you can imagine that going really, really strong. So let me know how you go with it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.